le pertenece a Jesucristo. Le pertenece a Jesucristo, el Rey de Reyes y Señor de Señores. Hoy es una nueva criatura.
They will stay in hiding, but when someone's around a person of God, that's when they start manifesting, because they're starting to get exposed and they start to get upset, frustrated, and come out. Because I've seen this. I've seen people just start manifesting in front of me, and I'm like, why did they manifest in front of me? Because I'm a threat. I'm a threat for them to be kicked out, because that's what I do. They also keep prayers from being answered, because I've noticed, like I've said, when people can't get, what life won't go well for them, what they desire does not come. They're not in God's will. They're not in their purpose, because they're imprisoned, and it keeps all of that from happening. And it makes them think, it gives them thoughts that counter that, so they can never literally manifest good things, not manifest as a demon. They also remind you not to forgive someone. So if you're in that bondage, it will keep reminding you of how awful that person is and what they did and just all of these things. You can't. It's like you can only think severely hateful thoughts about that person. Symptoms of demons or demonic strongholds on your life or on the lives of those around you. So a lot of what they try to do is either torment, or almost people think that they are serving them sometimes. People who have them, it's like they think it's a good thing, because like they think they have this power over others with it. That's what you really have to watch for. So if there's someone who has a deceptive power over people and they use it, and they may be aware of the fact that it's working for them in a way, but really it's not. In the long run, it will come back to haunt them. It will come back to hurt them, but it also does all along the way. So sometimes people have them and it's absolute torment, and they want out of that prison as fast as they can. Other times they think it's a good thing, and they're like, ooh, I've got this special energy and I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna use it for my way. And it's really creepy. And I mean, maybe we've all been there, I don't know, but red flags go up everywhere in my sensors when I'm dealing with someone like that. I'm like, whoa. And it's too much, you know. It's just like beam, 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 and you can see it's almost like the evil. You can see that creepy factor, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And oftentimes, especially in this world, almost everywhere I go, I just see like so many traits in people. Just everywhere I go, it's just like, wow, is there anyone clean? But it's like, how can I go out and have fun with people? And although I do know people that don't have it, but still, almost everyone I've noticed having one of these traits, or maybe 10 or 20 of these traits I'm going to mention. So, wow, it's just like, we all need to clean, we all need to take some showers here, some spiritual showers. So, I'm going to go through some of the different spirits. So many years ago, I did a energy session, and this lady had something stuck on her head energetically, and this is when I really became aware of powerful demons. It was the most intense experience. I did the session, pulled it off, I could feel it was gone. She told me, thank you, it's not there anymore, and she was so relieved. But yet I began to find out the reality of what that was, and I've since made connections between what that was and in seeing others in person with that similar thing going on. And so there's a spirit called pride. It's an energy that sticks on your head, and it's funny because after the session it tried to stick on my head. I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And oftentimes I have to really cover myself, protect myself, because things that come off of other people try to come after me. And this thing was trying to get out my head. And then I realized, like, what? This thing was horrific. It's where I learned a lot about demons, this whole experience. But anywho, so Leviathan, pride, sticks on people's heads. And it makes them walk around like puffed up and they're back up, and they have this there was a pastor recently talking about that, so that's where I kind of made some of the connections. But just a few weeks ago, I just had to call someone out. I was like, there's pride, and I was just calling out that energy that was on them, that spirit. It was like, you've got pride. That is not God. There's something, because this person's trying to be pure and everything. I was like, I want to help them, so I'm like calling it out, like, there's something not right here, you know, that pride, that's not God. God's not puffed up. And then later on I found out what it was, and guess what? So with the spirit of pride, you have all these other symptoms: baldness, rashes, smoking, and that puffed up manifestation of pride, you know, like. And the other thing I noticed though with this person that was manifesting pride, Leviathan, was their eyes just looked crazy. Like, they didn't look right in their eyes. It was like, so they would go into these manifestations, start saying things degrading to people, things that aren't even true, right? You know, people just start attacking. It's like, so there's a time when they're normal, and then suddenly this other mode clicks in, and they have the crazy look. And this person at the age of about 25 had a hair loss treatment where they get hair implanted in their head. And because they had gone bald in their early 20s, it may have even been before 25, but that's the symptoms of Leviathan. Whether it's a male or a woman, there's something literally sucking the energy of the life through their scalp, but also their skin, and causes rashes. That person, they had rashes, they had severe balding at an early age, they had the anger and that puffed up pride. I mean, no one puts their back up the way they would, right? It's like, just like, you know, as much as you possibly can. And let's see here. Yeah, they had that smoking addiction. But if you don't recognize what you're carrying and you love what you're carrying, like I said, when the demon, like, you like the traits. And if you're not ready to let go of those kind of traits, then it won't be removed. And all these other symptoms are going to remain. And so if you're not ready to get rid of the pride, then, because I mean, pride, I've noticed a lot of spiritual people, like, they won't have that, but then it's like there's a certain level of confidence that you do need for success, that you do need to have things flow into your life. But there's a dark pride, and there's a spirit of pride, and that's the dark pride. There's a spirit that can literally get on you. And I always recognize, like, why is this person so severely prideful? And then it was like a false pride. The things that they were puffed up about were not even real. Like, they were pretending. And because they would act like just this huge, their life is like this. And there's things about my life I have not even talked about that are just incredible, because I don't want to be presenting myself as, you know, that spirit of pride. But I'm just so thankful every day. So if you're grateful, you don't have to talk about it, right? Like, I do talk about some things because I want other people to do it, right? I'm not like, oh, look at me. I want everyone else to do it. Like, here's how you do it. And that's why I'm talking about it. But there's some things that are just so magnificent, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here in gratitude with it and not go around yammering about it. But this person yammers about things that they're not even doing or accomplishing. It's just fake. It's pretend. It's a pretend pride. And then I had other people point out, no, this person hasn't done these things. And I'm like, yeah, it's weird, because they don't seem like they are, yet they're talking about being these great things, this huge, it's like they pretend they're larger than life. So the spirit of pride, which attaches to your head, like a suction cup, it's not comfortable. I mean, you feel that thing, like my client, she was just like, there's something wrong with me. And I think there's different ways to attract that. And, you know, I had heard this pastor say that you have to remove all these shield demons. Well, I didn't have to remove any shield demons for this person to have that thing removed. But it was a very powerful, I mean, it's one of the most strong demons I have ever dealt with in my work. I was just shocked. So recognizing demonic strongholds is a complete game changer. If you're just looking at things as emotional, the root is often trauma. It's like, yes, trauma, and then it opened the door for an energy, but those things have an awareness, and it's a completely different personality. And that's, again, why some people will have multiple personality disorder. But oftentimes we're interacting with different people, and the energies will mesh, and you almost feel like, well, sometimes I feel like I have this personality, and over here I have, but that's different. That's a different thing. They will stay in hiding, but when someone's around a person of God, that's when they start manifesting, because they're starting to get exposed, and they start to get upset, frustrated, and come out. Because I've seen this. I've seen people just start manifesting in front of me, and I'm like, why did they manifest in front of me? Because I'm a threat. I'm a threat for them to be kicked out, because that's what I do. They also keep prayers from being answered, because I've noticed, like I've said, when people can't get, what life won't go well for them, what they desire does not come. They're not in God's will. They're not in their purpose, because they're imprisoned, and it keeps all of that from happening. And it makes them think, it gives them thoughts that counter that, so they can never literally manifest good things, not manifest as a demon. But I do think it's interesting that manifestation is both what demons do and then what people do to make their own will come about. They also remind you not to forgive someone. So if you're in that bondage, it will keep reminding you of how awful that person is and what they did and just all of these things. You can't. It's like you can only think severely hateful thoughts about that person. And it's just a constant need to stay clean of them, because you see how something happens, you let in that energy or attachment, and suddenly you feel different. You know, when you're angry or something, like that's not God's love, right? And yes, you do need to deal with the situation, but if you feel internally something charged incorrectly that disrupts your frequency, because you know the higher you are, the better life is going to be, and things will happen. It's like if you let it down because of that, it's all about staying stable and on your throne without letting others knock you off and bring you into that point of opening the door to manifestation of those entities. Not just manifestation, but of hosting. You do not want to be a host. You want to be a host to God's Spirit, Spirit of love, Spirit of holiness. So, anywho, I just had to put that. I have so much more to say in future videos, but you know, it's a very real thing. And so if you ever see someone, say they're balding, maybe look for the other traits. Maybe look for, or ask them, do you have skin rashes? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you do they get angry, or do they, what kind of situations have they been in? And because also, like, look for crimes with any demonic stronghold. Is there some kind of weird legal or conflict situation? But I've also seen with the pride, a lot of pretending, a lot of lying. So the spirit of pride can have other layers with it. Those shield demons, like, it's like they will have to lie, to pretend like they're all that. They will have to create facades and pretend and possibly be a hypocrite, just whatever it is. And mostly pretending though. And it's like, do they really think they're that much? And yes, sometimes assuming that role helps you to accomplish it, for it to come about, declaring it. But being a show-off is different. Have it within you, but you don't need to show off as if it's someone you're not. Like on my website, all the words that I have are literal words, and I will not go on there Like all my testimonies, that's email, mostly what people have emailed me, because that's their best testimony, is right when their reaction, right off. I don't want to alter that, because that will alter what I'm doing here. Do you know what I mean? It will put the spirit of pride, the spirit of pretend. And I don't need that. Like, all of those are legit. It's what people said, word for word. And I may cut out, put here. Like, I was watching this video I posted on my site. I hadn't seen it. Like, wow. It's exciting to be reminded, like, what people's experience was after your sessions. It's just like, I remember that. Like, I haven't looked at it in a while, but and it's still ongoing, but there's so many different kinds of events after a session. It's always exciting to look back at different things that have happened. But anyway, it's always fun. I love that people feel freed, because that's what it reminded me of when I watched this video yesterday that's on the homepage on my website. It's like, you could tell they were freed. And I remember that one lady was definitely freed of a huge demonic energy, but they always feel 20 pounds lighter, 50 pounds lighter, ready to exercise. They feel positive. They feel reconnected to their soul again. They feel, and I never really talked about what was behind what I was removing, because at the time it wasn't as apparent. I could feel it. I'm like, whoa, there's something attached on you. There's something on there, and that when I remove it, sometimes it tries to come at me, and I have to shield, I have to cover with love, light, God source, because like I've said, those who do not have God are a target. So you want to be no healer out there should be without God, or you will be having one heck of a time, a very bad time. You probably shouldn't even be healing. And I went through that. I went through a lot of pain after sessions at the beginning, because I didn't know. I wasn't as close as I am now. And I had a lot of strong godly experiences, like with that judgment experience, where I saw the complete destruction of a town, and the next day it happened. Like, I've just seen judgment. I've had a lot of moments like that, and it wasn't till more recently where more and more I'm being shown. You're always being shown more and more. We're always growing closer. But no healer. So if you're a healer, do not be without that connection to God, because you will be taking on everything you remove from people. Like, afterwards, I would just get so drained, giving away all my energy. And I still feel myself giving away energy, but God's love recharges you instantly, and it protects you. And you don't even have to put on a layer of protection. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just instant. It's just there. And it's always there. You're always just cloaked supernaturally. And you see it. You see the constant proof. You see the results of being protected, because you remember when you weren't. And it's just a beautiful thing. You're like, wow, life is so different now. You know, when you have the supernatural protection, nothing is the same. Every day is just so different. It's so much more beautiful. Bad things just aren't happening left and right. And you can manifest, but that doesn't mean all these other things aren't going to happen. But when you have God's will and God's protection, and like I said, I still love declaring, but it's like mostly for other people. You know what I mean? Declaring for them. And we're given that ability. So to declare, for good. And that's what we're here to do. And to be in that kingdom, that garden. But it's the earth has been so penetrated by the souls that were left because of the fall, when the angels fell and mated. So those souls are not due to go off in the kingdom. They're stuck here. And they want to host your body because they want a body. Do you know what I mean? Like, they want a body. They like being in a body. And they want, for the various reasons. But they work together for a mission, for an agenda, to take you down. Like, that's literally their agenda. And you don't need to be having someone else's agenda over your life. But, I've seen it. I've seen where other people are hosting them, and then they think that's their agenda, to take me down. And I just laugh now. I'm like, wow. They're infested. a person's infested, they have no reason to take me down. I'm here to help. I'm here to help them. But what inside them makes people like, oh, it's just because they're insecure. No. It's way darker than that. It's way darker. Like, I can't see myself going after people trying to take them down. It sounds horrible. I've never been that kind of person because I've stayed clean. All right, back to what I was saying. So one I noticed is when, say, you go into someone's home and they have a lot of like idols. You know, think of the Egyptians, and they worshipped gods. They literally did sacrifices and prayers and worshipped the many gods, and not Yahweh, not the God, but these false idols. And I see a lot of people still having that in their homes today. Maybe not thinking, oh, I'm worshiping this, and there are a lot of people that actually do worship gods. You know, there's the Hindu, and I've seen the continued worship of these false gods, but even just people who have these, I don't know, I've seen different statues and things that represent gods, or it doesn't necessarily have to have a power over you, but like they can give in to, like if they have a crystal, and you're not using it as an amplifier, you're using it as a, like you're thinking, you're praying to it or something, or you're praying to the tree, or, you know, that's when you have a false god. But anyway, I mean, you can communicate all things, of course, but I think when you disacknowledge source, that's when there's an issue. But because that's the ultimate protection against the demonic. So demons flock to those who don't have that connection, and they feed off of that disconnection. And so you want to be in connection at all times. Like, you do not want to break that, because then you're a target. Okay? And so you may not realize it, because if you don't know how to distinguish these things, and you just think it's an energy, you just think it's, I don't know, whatever excuse you give it, but recognize what it is. Because, I mean, in my experience, I've seen hundreds of demons cast out, and it's every different kind. I mean, it's so many different kinds, and they come out in my sessions, and I've had to experience these things, and these things are from hell, I tell you. Like, it is like when they come in the room, there's like this whip. They will throw things around in your house. If you hear things at night, like banging around, you need to clean your house spiritually. But clean yourself as well. It's not just your house. They will give you headaches. It will feel like there's something on your head. They will, like, you can feel a presence come in. It can feel like a freaking tidal wave. It is like, you may be telepathic with it. You may experience that. Oh man, some of the things I do not want to explain, because it's just like in the scary movies. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't even want to go there right now. But I'm going to go through some of the, I will tell you, they smell terrible. And then they can even like make footprints. They can knock on doors. They can turn out the lights. I mean, I've seen all this stuff, and babies will cry around them. If you have lack of forgiveness, that's a big target. You can even manifest one, just fearing it, or thinking it's going to come to you, or thinking that you could have them. That even opens the door. It's not just committing sins or doing wrong or opening a door. There are just so many ways, and you may call it energy. You may feel like, oh, it's just an energy. But for some people, when they leave their body, they will resist, and they will scream out, and they will take over their voice and start speaking through them. Like, this is real, and it'll cause you to lust. Like, if you have a partner and yet you're like lusting over more than one person, yeah, that could be a spirit of lust. But even like not having discipline in yourself, like, it's so important to be extremely disciplined with who you are, what you're committed to, to your goal, to your life purpose, and to the divine connection. Because if you are not, that just, it's, things are not, your focus is going to go over here, your focus is going over here, and then suddenly something else takes over and becomes over 50% of your focus that was supposed to be on your goal, and then you're just swept over here like in the waves, or just like, ooh, like a cork. And you don't want that to happen. You want to be focused, you want to be committed. Fasting is essential in protection from these things. But even just saying one lie, you can open a spirit to come in and cause you to lie. I've seen people, they have no control over it, even if it gets them in trouble. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's worse to do that. And that's what they will cause you to do. They will cause you to be in more and more trouble and ruin your own life. Like, lies can ruin lives. It will break all your relationships, all your connections, because the person can sense that. They know. And the best thing to do is to own up to something you may have done wrong. And it's like a little 5-year-old, but it makes adults like this. And it's sad. It makes adults, demonic strongholds make adults look like foolish little children. And not, there's good children and then there's naughty children. And I'm talking about naughty children. And it will make them have addictions. It will make them just look like a joke their whole life. Like, why is that person having an addiction? Like, can't they get over that? The whole family or friend group is burdened by that person having an addiction. We all know it. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, pretend that, I can't think of a single group of people, unless they all do it right. Like, they all smoke cigarettes, or they all drink, or they all cuss, or they all, like, this group mind, maybe like a group demonic stronghold. But anyway, so addictions of any kind are never good. Addiction to food, cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, anything that you have no willpower in. You can't be yourself. You can't be, and it's preventing you from living your peak, passionate, most exciting, happy, healthy life. Because those things, they bring your emotions down. And some people think, oh, well, I'm happy when I drink alcohol, or I'm happy when I, like, overall though, like when you're not drinking alcohol, like, you will be brought down, right? I think we all know that. If you have bad dreams repeatedly, that's often a demonic stronghold. Sometimes dreams give you a message. It may be showing you something that's about to happen. Like, I remember having a dream and I woke up like, yikes. And then 2 days later, I realized it was someone's energy. I was sensing them. I was sensing what they were about to do, what they were planning. And it kind of warned me, okay, here, this person's trying to stop you, okay? And I stopped them. Funny enough. But, yeah, I could tell this dark energy was trying to come in, and then it made other people act all dark, and I was just like, nope, I'm not going for that. As I've mentioned in other videos, this I heard from a preacher, that he was saying that every cuss word is the name of a demon. And, when someone does use that language, it often does really significantly decrease the energy in the room. And yeah, it opens that door, it opens that takeover. So, you see, when one trait exists, all these others that match it do too. Like the cussing, but then this other person's like also obsessed with, who knows, I don't know, witchcraft or cemeteries or sleeping around or porn. Like, they'll have many of these traits because they will want to put you in the most prison-like state to things that ultimately destroy you, destroy your joy, that make you in this cocoon of darkness, and you don't even realize it. Like, you have no idea how amazing you could feel, how everything could be going your way, at all times how beautiful life can be, know all these things will destroy you. And that's their aim, to destroy you, to make you foolish, to make you want to eliminate your life sometimes. I mean, they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be so down. And sometimes, so if other person if someone you know has one, they won't ever do things to lift you up. They'll only do things to bring you down. So that's a key point. If you know someone and all they do is put down your ideas, put down your inspiration, put down your looks, your actions, your beliefs, everything, absolutely everything, then that is a sign. And after a while, I mean, once you recognize it, you're just like, wow, it's just kind of funny. You know, you don't have to take it seriously. You don't have to get too offended by it, but it's just like, okay, this person is in a little prison, and you may not believe, and you may think, oh, it's just a psychological state. Well, then why does it get healed in energy healing? Why does it get healed in deliverance? Why do people manifest and start growling and start shrieking when they remove these things? I'm sorry, but that always happens. And when I do energy work, I mean, they'll shake. They just shake. And it's the same thing that happens in deliverances. Like, the person shakes and they resist sometimes, and they will start speaking into the person. And the only people who think it's a psychological state really haven't done that much research on it. They really haven't had much experience in these things. And I've heard quite a few testimonies of people that admit when they were in a state of mind, we'll call it, really it's a state of spirit, and they will, I mean, they have to go to churches to get these things removed, because suddenly the thing starts manifesting through them. Like transgender people, like some people have opened up their bodies to be taken over by another spirit, and that's why they suddenly feel like someone else. So a lot of people can be born with this, so it's like that's all they know, or they let it in so young that that's who they think they are. They think they're this slick personality or whatever quality it is, like, ooh, this is me, and really it's not. It's a entity attachment that, you know, it just makes them someone else, and they're almost like partnered with it. They're like, oh, well, I get ahead because of this, and really they don't. You know, it will always just cause conflict and problems. They may never be able to have a relationship. They may always have cheating problems. It just causes absolutely any kind of problem. One thing I noticed is polygamy. Like, when all the people that I saw that had them, they were just these polygamists. They wanted multiple partners in one, like, committed relationship. It's like, you know, and I just saw they had these spirits around them. It's like, you know, it just freaked me out. A lot of the times they can be like these new age leaders, a lot of the time, and that's, the more I saw that, the more I really had to, I guess, just remove myself from those types of things, from any kind of, there's all these plant medicine groups, and plant medicines may cleanse, but they do open those doors. Anything, weed, shrooms, and I don't want to break anyone's spirit with that, but I mean, I've just seen it, you know, all these years. I've been really aware of things, and energy, spirit, God, that is, as well as fasting and just a healthy spiritual lifestyle, is way better than any of those plant medicines. It's way better than any kind of trip or drug or alcohol, like anything. I mean, that scientist said it for you. Do you remember in that video, if you have not seen that? It's just unbelievable. And if you don't have these habits, these healthy habits, you will never get to experience that on a daily basis. And this is why I don't ever feel really my whole life to do any of these things. You know, when I go running and my body's cleaning constantly, and and it releases endorphins, and the fasting just releases this joy all the time and health. And I see people in their 20s and they're getting like these face injections to look better. I'm like, I have never felt that bad about myself that I want to inject things into my face. And you hate your body even. That's one of the traits. Like they make you insecure. They make you think you have to be like that worldliness I was speaking of. They make women even like take pictures like they're prostitutes. Like so many of these women do for their Instagrams or whatever it would be. That's prostitution. And like when you're doing that for money, you're posing those ways. What is that, Jezebel? Like that's a spirit that it's the same spirit that's in pornography. Like you're hosting that spirit. If you think, oh well, this is what I have to do, you have to lower yourself that much. And they don't recognize that it's so dark. They just don't know. You know, it blinds them. And like I know I take artsy photos all the time, but I would not even go there. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it is so low, and they don't even realize that. Like it's just sad, I guess. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you serving? Men? Darkness? Like what? Like one or the other, and that's creepy. Like it's just like, what woman would do that? It's like you're putting yourself down here. You're putting guys in front of you, above here, or money, or popularity way above you. When it should be, I think, the other way around. Let them serve you. Don't serve them. Energies, yeah, if they're in others, you'll notice. Because, I mean, if you're full of light, like, it won't be you necessarily that's hosting them. It may be someone else. But if you do notice a lot of problems, financial problems, or what else, like abundance, or things going wrong all the time, those are often like curses or demonic strongholds. And often they also make people commit crimes, and then they end up in jail. They're already in a spiritual prison, and so what you're doing in the spiritual, you also end up having in the physical world. And so if you're in a spiritual prison, you're probably going to end up just doing something as if it's a computer command, you know, it's like a programming, so that you match. And so often I think when people come to God or something, like they end up getting freed because they released that spiritual prison. Like, so that's why they get freed, and they're like, oh my gosh, I just prayed and I came to God and then I got freed. Like this miracle happened, or the person came out and said I didn't do it. But like, even if you didn't commit a crime and you got falsely accused, if you're still in a spiritual prison, there's a chance that you would end up in physical prison. You know, if you're in a situation where like you need justice, you need fairness, especially women, like when they're having whatever kind of things coming at them, and you're like, I don't deserve this, and this isn't right. You need to declare that in the spirit. And right as you do, everything, I mean, it's like a bowling ball. You throw out thousands of bowling balls, and suddenly like everything gets knocked down. And it is powerful. It is awesome. It can happen right away. It can happen the same day. It can happen the next day. And you're just like, that's it. When you say that's it in your spirit, that's when everything will change. Some other signs is like when someone always mocks God. It's not even, it's like something within them is causing them to do that. You know what I mean? Like the demonic stronghold, because that's what demons do. They mock God. It's like, why would they always be mocking God? Oh, there's a particular reason. And they don't want that person to come to God. So they will cause the demon will cause that person to constantly mock God, or to cuss, or to say Jesus' name wrongfully. And sometimes there can be, when a doctor can't find like a physical cure, often there's a demonic energy. And then when that person releases it, they'll throw it up, but suddenly the thing is gone, cysts, the cancer, everything, it'll be gone. And you know, as we've seen, and I've got that video about Tourette's, TikTok opening up portals for people to let in that energy of Tourette's. That's just another manifestation. Because what do? They cuss, they hit, they flip off their own parents and their best friends. They're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And then they just do it. That's a manifestation, you know? And so that's exactly what they do in normal people. They cause them to flip people off. They cause them to cuss at them. They cause them to get angry at them and just road rage and just all these things, all these qualities, exactly how those with Tourette's. But the people with Tourette's have it as on a different level, right? But it's the same thing. Like if you recognize that. So all these people have, in a way, Tourette's, and they're doing things they don't even realize it's out of their control. Like, and they don't even realize the more they do it, the more they open that, the more they give their power away to the demonic. And they don't realize the prison gets smaller and smaller, or like more caged in on them. And they don't realize that it's affecting all the other things in their life. But it is. It's causing depression. It's causing anger. It's causing their relationships to break. It's causing curses on their life. It's causing things not to go well. It's causing their finances to not go well. It's causing a drug addiction, going to prison, whatever it may be. Just the list goes on. And they don't realize. It's all because of their because they've let in these energies, these entities. And I used to not call it that. I used to be like, okay, well, I am a healer. I shouldn't be using that term. But the more I've seen, experienced, tested things, gone out, seen others do it, I'm like, nope, I know 100%. You have, like, there's no denying. Like, when you have seen enough, there's a point where you've just seen it all, you know? And these things do exist. Anyway, so how do you get rid of them? I'll have to maybe do another video for that, but forgiveness is key. Hosting Holy Spirit is key. And a lot of the things I've just talked about in my videos, you're going to have to watch a few of those because I don't want to make this too long. But I just had to explain the symptoms of them and being with God. And when someone suddenly feels, sometimes you can be filled with the Holy Spirit and you feel renewed. You have a new life. You have a new awareness. But if you're filled with a dark spirit, you will have a new awareness, but it won't guide you to the right path. It will not be on your purpose. It will not be on God's purpose for your life. It will be on a pathway to hell, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? Like living a lie, living a life. You don't want to go that way. And so when you host these things, you cannot be on your path. You can't. Like, you're going to be on the wrong path. And you've got to get rid of these things. You need to be clean. You don't want to live your whole life being in the darkness. You don't. And I hope this helped clarify some things for you. So, soulsempowered.com, I do healings to help remove energies and strongholds and curses. And my clients, I mean, we work through so many different things, you know. We look at what may be blocking them, and there's just so much really that goes into my work but freedom and success and joy, happiness and love are the main results from someone who's really serious about it. So I hope this helps, and I'm here if